Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill. I am the e-recruiter here at UC Merced. A very big welcome to you tonight. We are so excited that once again, you have chosen to spend some time with us here online for this fantastic online event. So tonight, before we get started, I'd like to give you a couple of quick tips. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can always do that in the lower left corner of your screen. If you'd like to adjust the size of your window, click on View Options in the upper portion of your window. And that comes in handy if we're ever showing something on the screen, maybe the checklist slide when that comes up. If you'd like to zoom in a bit, go ahead and click on View Options and zoom right in. Lastly, and most importantly, we are also here to get to your questions, so please take full advantage of the Q&A button. Go ahead and click on that button, send in your questions, and we will make sure that we have time to get to those throughout the presentation. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight as we get ready to talk about next steps for admitted transfer students. At this time, it's my great honor to hand things over to my friend, Nancy.
Thank you, Ricky. My name is Nancy Oline. I am the transfer advisor here at UC Merced for the South Central Valley. So regions between Madera to Kern counties. I'm also a UC Merced alumni from the class of 2021. And I'm going to start presenting the presentation on our next steps for admitted students. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to go over some fast facts, connect to connect, what's next for admitted students, financial aid overview, fall 2023 housing, and the timeline, and then final remarks. So on this first slide, as you can see, some fast facts that we have here. We like to say that we are building the future in the heart of California. We have just a little over 9,000 students with over 200 clubs and organizations. Some of these clubs and organizations include like student government, activities and events, women's programs, fraternity and sorority life, both professional and social. We have go-kart racing, the dance team, and much more. Most of these clubs were actually started by students themselves, so they wanted to connect with others in similar interests. And you can always form a club yourself as well. On this slide, as you can see, some of our few rankings we have accumulated over the years, including 42nd in the top 10 universities in the nation among public institutions, and #1 in the national percentage of students who have received need-based financial aid assistance, among many others. Next slide. So on this slide, as you can see, we have some things, what to do here in Merced. So we have some of the things listed here are Art Hop. We have Joystick that was just added to downtown Merced. We have Mazer Theater, which they're able to put performances. They have movie nights where you can eat, dine, and watch the movie. I do know they've had like drag night, comedy nights. So it's just some fun places to go visit. We have over 175 places to eat. Like I mentioned, Mazer is one of them, one of our popular ones. Mazer was also renovated in 2021, so it has pretty cool amenities to it. Joystick, like I mentioned, it's a full vintage arcade center where you can eat, play some games, and just hang out with friends. But like I mentioned, we are in the heart of California, so that includes Yosemite Lake, a 5-minute walk from campus. Something really cool you could do at Lake Yosemite is rent out kayaks, paddle boards, and you can use them for a short hour or for the full day, and it's pretty affordable as well. If you want to go to Yosemite National Park, we are the only UC that has a partnership with them, and you can get in for free. We also have a bus that will take you there directly with the free entry, and you can enjoy the parks freely. Next slide. But if you don't want to stay local for the weekend, you're in luck because Merced is in the heart of California. So you're within driving distance or a short Amtrak trip from San Francisco, Santa Cruz, Monterey Bay, Sacramento. Or we also have our Southern California, like LA, San Diego, Santa Barbara, and much more. I personally have gone to half of these when I was a student as well. So take advantage of going on trips with some friends or just trying to explore new cities. Next slide. So these are our undergraduate students. Like I mentioned, we have a little over 9,000 students total in total enrolled. 67% of those students are first generation. Out of those 9,000 students, 43% are in our School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, 30% in the School of Engineering, 25% in the School of Natural Sciences, and 3% are undeclared. Because we have a diverse campus, as you can see on your screen, we are now a Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution, as well as a Hispanic serving institution. So we have some pretty big statistics on here for our students to see, and we hope to grow these numbers within the next couple of years as well. Next slide. On this screen, you can see how big we have grown over the last couple of years. Since our 2020 renovation or project, we've had our campus grow remarkably. As you can see on here, we have a lot of our new dorms. We have new labs. We have our competitive swimming pools. We have new research centers and new student life facilities as well. So if you haven't already, please come out and take a tour and you can see our beautiful campus. I will now be passing it over to Michelle, who will be going over some of the current info.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Hoff, and I am the Merced Promise Counselor at Fresno City College, and I am a part of this new team here at UC Merced. I am also a transfer student as well, so congratulations to all you, and it's great to have you all here. So there are a few things that I want to let you know that are important for you to know while making the transition here to UC Merced. It's really important that you keep your contact information current, okay? So you want to make sure that you update your mailing address, your telephone number, and your email address. By doing this, then you'll always be getting you'll always be getting information from UC Merced as long as we have all of that important information updated. And then on the next slide, I wanted to go ahead and go over some information with you about the admitted students events. And so on the admitted students page at admitted.ucmerced.edu, or you can use the QR code that's on the right of your screen there. You'll be able to see different events and activities for all of you newly admitted students, activities and events such as the new student registration workshops or the financing your university education workshops as well. So you definitely want to make sure that you're checking out these different events that are listed on the admitted students webpage. Next slide, please. All right, and we would love it for you and your family, your chosen family, friends, to come on down and take a tour of the campus. However, there are some other ways for you to take tours of the campus if you're not able to come down or come up right now. So there are guided tours or virtual tours. So please reach out to the amazing folks in the Welcome Center to set up a guided tour. And their contact information is also on the right of the screen. And you can also use the QR code as well. Next slide, please. All right. So in the beginning, we were talking about getting you connected to Connect. So many of you who are the transfer students here with us today may be familiar with student portals from your colleges that you're transferring from. And so this is kind of similar to that. And so Connect is actually your connection to your admissions decision. So you'll be able to get any information from the admissions office, financial aid information. You'll be able to access your student checklist here, which that is very important, and also be able to access your UC Merced email and register for courses as well. So we're going to go over how to gain access to Connect by taking a look at how to get your Net ID. So your UC Merced Net ID is your single sign-on. And so it's really important that you claim your account. And so to do that, you just need to follow these steps that are listed here. First thing that you definitely need to know is you want to make sure that you have your personal email address and your mobile phone, because you're going to need that for this process as well. And so you'll go ahead and do step one. You'll start claiming your account. You'll enter in your email address, your personal email address, or your phone number. And then you'll move on to step two, and that will allow you to start claiming your account. And so there will be a code that you will receive. You'll enter in that code there, and that will be sent over to, I believe, your email or the phone, mobile phone number that you enter in. And then from there, you'll go ahead and choose an ID and then create your password. And then you'll be able to claim your account from there. Now, it is really important if you are running into any issues with claiming your account, you'll want to reach out to the Students First Center. They'll be able to assist you with claiming your account or any issues that you may run into with claiming your account. Also, you can go to the ID management page, which is idm.ucmerced.edu/claim. And that will take you to the page that you'll be using to access to be able to claim your account. All right, moving on to the next slide. UC Merced uses a two-factor authentication system by Duo Mobile. So you will make sure, what you'll want to do is, with your single sign-on, you're going to use the Duo Mobile, and you'll need to have your computer, your UC Merced Net ID and password, and your smartphone, and then access to your phone's app store. And you can actually access Duo Mobile with the QR code that we have here on the screen as well. And so this will allow you to be able to complete the two-factor authentication process to access your accounts. All right, next slide, please. All right, so on the next steps page of on the UC Merced website, you'll see a list of all of the different next steps that you'll need to follow, but you'll also be able to see these steps on your checklist that you'll be able to gain access to when you log into your Connect. So this is really important that you're following through the steps that are listed for you in your checklist and making sure that you're meeting those requirements. But you can always preview these next steps on our website as well. Next slide, please. So when you log into your Connect, this is what the Connect homepage will look like. On the right-hand side here, you'll see different icons for each of the different items that you can access. So your financial aid, admissions events, your checklist, housing, course updates, all of that's available there. So one thing that we do want to talk about is on here as well, you'll be able to see any messages from admissions here. And some of those messages will also include information about maybe your UE award, which is the Western Undergraduate Exchange. And then also you'll be able to find out any information on any special, if you qualify for any special programs or any different majors. And then also what I'd like to do is go over what your checklist would look like by, when you click on the My Checklist icon there. So next slide, please. All right, so this is your checklist. Now, of course, this is just an example. Everyone's is personalized, so yours will look different than what you're seeing here on the screen. But I do want to point out a few factors about the checklist for you to know about. So each requirement is listed And you'll notice that each of them will have a link that is provided. So with that link, it'll send you to the resources, the online resource that you may need, or the office that you may need to contact. So it is really important to check and make sure that that your official transcripts and any test scores have been provided. And you'll notice on the left-hand side of each of the different requirements, there is a red circle with an red X in it. So once you've completed an area, you'll see a green check mark in that place. If any of those requirements are pending or pending review, or you've just submitted it, so it's still kind of going through the process, then you're going to see a yellow triangle, just so you know that there are different icons that will mean different things for you. And it's good for you to kind of know what those are in advance. Next slide, please. All right, so your conditions of admission, your admission is provisional. So it's really important that you know that failure to satisfy any of the conditions will result in UC Merced withdrawing the offer of admission. So you can review your conditions of admission at admit.ucmerced.edu. And so you'll be able to take a look and see a reminder of what your conditions are. Now, if you are receiving a non-passing grade or you've changed your schedule, please make sure that you notify our office or the Office of Admissions immediately by visiting UC Merced Connect and selecting My Course Updates icon. All right, so I'm going to hand over the presentation to Sheila with even more important information for y'all to learn about.
Thank you, Michelle. And hello, everyone. My name is Sheila Zhang, and I am the Assistant Director of Transfer Initiatives here at UC Merced. So I oversee our transfer advising team. So let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the presentation. All right. So the first slide here that we have, the slide that we have here is the June 1st deadline. So June 1st is the deadline to submit your statement of intent to register for transfer students. Basically, this is your opportunity to accept your offer of admissions or decline it. You have until June 1st to either accept or decline your offer of admissions. So please note that for transfer students, it is June 1st. All right, next slide. The next slide here is for the statement of legal residence. Now, this requirement only applies to you if it is listed on your student checklist in your portal. If you are checking your Connect and it is not on your student checklist, you don't need to worry about it. If you do find that this requirement is on your checklist, please make sure to follow the instructions and submit your statement of legal residence form as soon as possible. The statement of legal residence is used to determine whether you qualify for in-state or out-of-state tuition. Just so you know, there is a big difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition. The statement of legal residence ensures that your tuition and fees and financial aid are calculated at the right resident or non-resident tuition rate. If you fail to submit your statement of legal residence or any requested documents, this will affect your financial aid package and non-resident fees will be assessed to your student account. That is a $15,000 difference. So please make sure that if this is on your checklist, that you're completing it as soon as possible. The deadline is June 5th, which is just around the corner. And you don't need to wait until you submit your statement of intent to register or your SIR. You can actually submit the SLR before you submit the SIR. All right, next slide. You may have received your financial aid award letter already. The financial aid office has started awarding financial aid award letters in March and continues to award financial aid letters on a rolling basis. So this is an example of what a financial aid award letter will look like. You'll see it's 2 pages. So you'll see one page that describes the different types of aid that you can get. So for example, grants and scholarships, you know, student loans, work study opportunities, and then you'll also see a breakdown of the different types of aids that you are receiving. So in this example here, we're showing how much a student is receiving for gift aid. Gift aid includes your grants and scholarships. Self-help aid includes loans, so subsidized and unsubsidized loans, and then expected family contribution. So the amounts that you are expected to pay out of pocket. All right, next slide. On this slide here, we're taking a look at WUI, so the Western Undergraduate Exchange for Out-of-State Residents. If you are an out-of-state transfer student that is participating through WUI, that's great. This WUI is an agreement among 16 members and with more than 160 or more participating public colleges and universities. This WUI allows, you know, students from different states to enroll and take courses in another state without paying the non-resident tuition. So if you are eligible for WUI, you will receive a notification from via UC Merced Connect to let you know that you will receive WUI, which reduces your tuition costs. And you can save approximately $26,000 over the first year. For transfer students, the WUI tuition discount is good for 2 years or whenever you graduate, whichever comes first. It is important to note that if you are joining UC Merced through WUI, you do need to maintain enrollment at UC Merced and declare a major that is within the WUI eligible major or program. If you do happen to change your major while at UC Merced and participating in WUI, you will then be charged for out-of-state tuition. So for those of you who are non-residents and looking to attend UC Merced, please definitely check out your Connect to receive more information about WUI. All right, now let's go ahead to the next slide. On this slide here, this is a screenshot about where you can find WUI in the UC Merced Connect portal. So when you log in to UC Merced Connect, if you qualify for WUI, it will be on your message center on your Connect. So you'll be able to click on the WUI button here in green for more information for how you can qualify for WUI and the steps that are needed. All right, next slide. So this slide here provides the cost of attendance for the 2023-24 academic year. The cost of attendance is an estimate that includes all expenses to attend the university for 1 year. So the cost of attendance here is for 1 year. The cost of attendance does include the tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, personal expenses, and health insurance. Please note that this is an estimate and these averages have been determined based off of data from surveys of UC Merced students. So for example, like personal expenses, health insurance, books and supplies, those are estimates. If you have your own health insurance that is equivalent to the UC's health insurance plan, you could potentially waive the health insurance fee here. Depending on where you might be getting your books and supplies. So for example, maybe instead of buying a new book, you're renting a textbook. This could reduce the books and supplies, and then personal expenses are how much you spend on yourself, right? So the cost of attendance is an estimate. It does include all of these items. However, some of these items are an estimate. So for example, personal expenses, health insurance, books and supplies, that might not be how much you are spending for the academic year. All right. And for this slide here, this is the cost for on-campus. So just note that if you plan to live on campus, this is an estimate of what the cost of attendance would be. All right, next slide. On this slide here, we do see a comparison of what it would cost to live off campus and what it would cost to live at home with relatives. Of course, once again, the cost of attendance is an estimate. If you're living at home with relatives or maybe your parents, you might not actually be paying for room and board. So once again, this is just an estimate of what it might cost you to live off campus or at home with relatives for an academic year. All right, we're going to move on to the next slide. For those of you who might be interested in living on campus, here's a breakdown of the housing and meal plans. So the room and board rate billed to students will depend on the contract type, room type, and meal plan that you choose if you plan to live on campus. So your contract will encompass the academic year. You will have an opportunity to choose different types of, rooms. So for example, a single room, meaning that you won't have a roommate, it'll just be you. A double room means that you'll have one roommate. Triple means you'll have two roommates, and then quad means 3 roommates. So you can kind of see the breakdown by academic year for contract per semester and contract price per year. And then on the right-hand side here, this is a breakdown of the different types of meal plans that you can select from. So if you would like more information on just the housing and meal plan breakdowns, we'll go ahead and drop the link for our housing website. That way you can check out the different room types and meal plans available to you if you want to live on campus. All right, next slide. This here is a picture of our half dome residential hall. Next slide. All right, so this is a picture of the academic walk. You'll find that when you come to UC Merced, the academic walk is pretty central to our campus. This is where you'll find many of the classroom spaces, residential halls, student support services and programs. The academic walk was part of UC Merced's 2020 project to expand the campus. What's really cool about many of these buildings on the academic walk is that they are mixed use, meaning that on the first floors, you'll find your classroom spaces, the student support services, offices, and programs. And then on the second, third, fourth, and higher floors, you'll find the residential halls. So what's really cool about this space is not only do you have classes and offices or meetings happening on the first floor, but you have students who are living on the second floor and higher. So it's really cool. We also have living learning communities available at UC Merced. For those of you who identify with one of these living learning communities, you can choose to be part of a living learning community. You will need to indicate that in your housing application. And then for those of you who are interested in living on campus, there is a 1-year housing guarantee for transfer students. So if living on campus is your plan as a transfer student, you are guaranteed housing on campus for 1 year. All right, next slide. So this slide here has different pictures showcasing the different buildings at UC Merced, residential halls, dorm spaces, amenities that come with being part of a residential hall. Research has shown that students who live in university housing are more connected to the campus and more academically successful than their peers. You'll find that being part of a residential hall means that you have a community, there are events, so you really get to connect with other students here at UC Merced. We also strive to keep our campus community safe. So if you're ever coming to campus, you might notice these emergency blue light poles that are stationed around the campus. That's to ensure that if you're ever walking on campus, you have direct lines to the police dispatcher. So for example, if you are studying late at the library and you have to walk back to the parking lot to your car and you don't feel safe walking back by yourself, you can use the emergency blue lights to get a hold of the police dispatcher and have somebody walk you to your car. All right, so what does it take to apply for housing? Let's take a look on the next slide here for the steps for housing. All right, So applying for housing happens in 3 simple steps. First, you'll want to make sure that you submit your SIR by June 1st. After submitting your SIR, you'll need to wait at least 48 hours. And then once you've waited at least 48 hours, you can visit the housing.ucmerced.edu website to submit your housing application. The application deadline is June 6th at 4 p.m. So for those of you who want to live on campus, please make sure to submit your application by June 6th at 4 p.m. What happens after you submit your application is that you will receive a contract. So the contract does need to be signed by June 7th at 11:59 p.m. So it's 2 steps in step 3, right? You want to submit your housing application by the June 6th deadline. And then after that, you want to make sure that you sign the housing contract by June 7th at 11:59 to secure housing on campus. All right, next slide. This here is a picture of Granite Pass. Granite Pass is a really cool building. It is a building that was pretty much built during the 2020 project expansion. So Granite Pass is a newer building on our campus with classroom spaces, office spaces, and residential halls. All right, next slide. So on this slide here, we're going to take a look at the next steps timeline for transfer students. We are now at the end of May, so we just wrapped up our transfer day events. If you did miss transfer day and you want to come to campus, you can still book a campus tour. We'll go ahead and drop the link later on for campus tours. But the next approaching deadline for transfer students is June 1st. There are multiple deadlines for June 1st, but the most important June 1st deadline is your statement of intent to register, the SIR deadline. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you log in to your UC Merced Connect to accept your offer of admissions by submitting your SIR. There are also multiple deadlines for June 1st, such as your financial aid documents, orientation registration. Check your student checklist on Connect because then you'll find the multiple deadlines for June 1st. All right, next deadline is June 5th, which is the Statement of Legal Residence deadline. Once again, this deadline is June 5th. However, you can submit your Statement of Legal Residence if it is on your checklist before your SIR. June 6th is the housing application. So that is when you'll want to turn in your application if you decide that you want to live on campus. Once your application for housing on campus is submitted, you will need to sign the contract, and the deadline for that is June 7th. In mid-June, this is when you will receive course registration information. So I know many of you have questions about what courses you should be registering for and also how to register for courses, right? This information will be sent out to your UC Merced email in mid-June. All right. And then after that, we are now in July. So July 1st is when your official records should be postmarked to the Office of Admission. This is your official transcript, right? July 7th through the 29th is orientation. Please note that there are different orientation dates for first year and transfer students. We'll go ahead and drop the orientation link on there so you can see the orientation dates for transfer students and register for your orientation session. For those of you who have AP or IB exam test scores that you want to send to receive credit for, the test scores are due July 15th to the Office of Admission. August 1st is the student health insurance waiver deadline. So when we went over the cost of attendance, there was a health insurance fee there. If you want to waive the health insurance fee, the deadline for waiving that fee is August 1st. So you'll want to make sure that you submit any documents or information that's needed if you plan to waive the health insurance fee. August 17th is when tuition and fee costs are due. So that's when you'll pay for your tuition and fees. In mid-August, you will receive information about university move-in days. So be on the lookout in your inbox for instructions on moving into campus if you are planning to live on campus. And then August 24th is when instruction begins for fall of 2023. All right, next slide. So we talked a little bit about summer orientation. Registration for orientation did open April 18th. You can register for orientation 24 hours after you submit your SIR. What's really cool about orientation is that this is an opportunity for you to learn about campus resources, and it's also a great way for you to network with current UC Merced students as well as prospective transfer students. I remember when I attended orientation, I got to, meet other students and learn about just different programs and resources and support that would be helpful for my college experience. So I definitely, recommend that you all SIR and then register for your summer orientation as soon as you can. We do have Spanish and dual language parent and guest sessions available. So if you prefer to attend a Spanish or a dual language session, you can also find that on the orientation website. We have the QR code listed here, so you can scan it with your phone to access the information for summer orientation. All right, next slide. All right, so once again, I know one of the priority questions or main questions that many of you have are, how do I register for courses? How does it work? So course recommendations based on your major, placement exam scores, APIB exams, and any college courses that you've taken will be on your My Degree path, which is listed on your plans tab in the Connect portal starting early in June. This information provides us as well as you with an idea of which courses you should be registering for based off of what you've completed at the community college. You will be provided with an assigned registration time. So you will receive an email. It's going to tell you which courses you're recommended to be registering for, as well as your assigned registration time. And then you will be able to register through your Connect portal. So just make sure that you log into your Connect portal and register for your classes during your assigned registration time. All right, so with that, I'm gonna pass the mic over back to my colleague, Nancy.
Thank you, Sheila. So on this slide, I'm gonna be going over some of the reasons why our students choose UC Merced. So some of the reasons are innovative technology, sustainability, interdisciplinary research, and social mobility. Because we are the newest UC, we have a lot of opportunity to continue to grow. With that, I feel like our innovative technology and as well as our sustainability are really major here on campus. We have a lot of ways to take care of our world. So with that, our sustainability comes into action. A lot of our classrooms are new, so we are able to implement a lot of new innovative technology as well. On the next slide, you'll be able to see some of our centers and institutions for research. So we have our UC Solar, we have our Center for Engagement and Teaching Learning, UC Water. So a lot of these are climate communication. We have our centers for excellence and health disparities, our STEM Center, and our Foster Family Center for engineering. So we have a lot of institutions and centers for our students to go and participate in if that's something that you're interested in, and also to continue our innovative and sustainability here on campus. On this next slide is something really cool as well. UC Merced is helping NASA, or helped NASA in the mission in 2020, I believe, to Mars. So UC Merced Fundamental Tribology Lab played a critical part in sending the NASA Mars rover in 2020 for their mission. So it was pretty cool to know that some of our mechanical engineering students here at UC Merced worked on this and were able to kind of set something out into space. And on the next slide are some of the student support services and campus resources. So these include either for our students, as a transfer student, you are able to go into our Transfer Returning and Veteran Center, or our TRV, so that you get your own lounge where you'll be able to go and visit, study after hours, or just have a quiet place to go and visit. I know they also have activities throughout the semesters. They bring in cats, they brought in bunnies for the month of April. And I do know that they want to bring in goat yoga as well. So just a cool resource for you guys to utilize. We also have our basic needs services. So I know we have on campus our Bobcat pantry, and you're able to use it, get free food from it. And it just basically creates points. Within those points, you're just able to swipe them and go in and get some free groceries. We have our Fiat Lux program, our Success Mentor program, which helps our students through the fall and spring semester with any services that you may need. We have PALS, our campus resources. Of course, mental health is very important. We have our student health services, our CAPS as well, completely free. It's on your tuition as well, so you don't have to pay out of pocket. And our student accessibility services as well. On the QR code down there, if you're interested, you can scan it. If not, you can visit our website. All of the information is on there as well. On the next slide. So I know how important it is to find a job or just to continue to go through your professional route or journey after graduation. But while you're here at UC Merced, we try to advance you a little bit in that profession or your career. So we have our individual coaching. We also offer job search assistance. We have interview prep, resume help, network opportunities, brand development, and then trips to Silicon Valley, LA, and San Francisco. So on the next slide, you can also see some of the places that have come to visit us at Merced. So some of our graduates, these are some of the places that some of our graduates have gone to work after graduation. Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Google, Kaiser, Netflix, and many more. On the picture up there, you can see Twitter visited us. So you're just able to go in, ask them questions. They'll usually have like applications or information for you to view over. I do know Google has come to visit us as well. So take advantage of these. They're always outside of the library. To take a few minutes out of your day to just go visit and see what they're all about. 81% of our students here after UC Merced were employed in California, which is really impressive and cool to know. Some of the places that our students have gone into graduate school include Princeton, UC Davis, UCLA, USC as well, among many others. On the next slide, like I mentioned earlier, we have over 200 clubs and organizations. If you want to scan the QR code below, it'll take you directly to our website, or you can just type in UC Merced clubs and they'll pop out. We have something for everyone here. As you can see on the screen, we have Bobcat Boba. Well, they'll bring in boba for our students. I know we have our dance club. We have a lot of cultural, religious, just social clubs as well. So whatever you're interested in, we have something here for you. And if not, then you can always make your own club as well. On the next slide, a little bit more about life on campus. So some of these pictures will depict some of the things that we have going on around campus. So you can see we have our game rooms. We have our treats and beats, which happens in the fall semester. That one's around Halloween. So our students are able to dress up, go see some of our performances. There's arcade games, there's prizes, there's food trucks, and all of this is completely free for our students. So you just have to go in, sign up, and you're free to go in. They're pretty fun. I myself went to Treats and Beats, and our version of Coachella, which is Cowchella because we have cows here. But the same thing where performances come out. I believe they had Rico Nasty, they had Riley, they had a few other ones throughout the years, but I also do know they have Capsterico as well. They had Pete Davidson the year that I was here. They just had one about a few weeks ago as well. So they've had Fluffy or Gabriel Iglesias. So it's pretty fun, completely free for our students, like I said. So take advantage of it, find stuff to do here on campus. We're always active with activities and events for you to do. On the next slide, if you're interested in the sports or athletic program, we now, because we have our Olympic pool, we now have water polo and our new soccer track. So you can now also join track for both men's and women's. We also have basketball, cross country, soccer, and volleyball. But if you don't want to become a student athlete, we have our club sports, intramural sports, and outdoor activities as well. I do know they compete against each other, like intramural sports. I know they competed against professors one year. So it was pretty funny to kind of see students compete with their professors. And in the end, you get a t-shirt and a trophy as well. And the next slide, I'll be passing it over to Ricky for any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Nancy, and to Michelle and Sheila. Fantastic presenting skills. And what a wonderful slideshow we had tonight. So many great pictures of our campus. I hope our audience is enjoying that and is just absorbing how beautiful our campus is and getting a sneak peek into what our campus population looks like, as well as all of the brand new buildings. Are pretty new, only a couple of years old. So you would be one of the first students to live there. We've only had those just for a couple of years. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. We do have a couple of questions that have come through. So let me go ahead and grab these questions. And I'd like to go ahead and invite my colleagues back on screen in case you do want to pop on and answer a question. The first one, is orientation mandatory?
So yes, orientation is mandatory. If you cannot attend orientation, please reach out to our orientation office to see what the alternatives are. We do want students to attend orientation, and it is part of your student checklist.
Very good. And the next question, is there a DSPS program offered at UC Merced?
UC Merced does offer a program that is similar to DSPS. We don't call it DSPS though. So I know that for many of you at the community college, it is DSPS. However, at UC Merced, it is our student accessibility services. So I'll go ahead and drop the link in just a second here, but we do offer the same services as DSPS. It's just called Student Accessibility Services here at UC Merced.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Sheila. And we have a few more here that we will squeeze in before the end of our event tonight. So when I sign my housing contract, or when I get my housing contract, how long do I actually have to go through the process to accept it?
When you submit your application, the deadline is June 6th, right? The sooner you submit your application, the sooner you can get your contract back. So if you are waiting until June 6th to submit your housing application, you only have 1 day to submit sign your contract. If you submit your housing application sooner, you have more time to think about signing that contract. But between the housing application deadline and the contract deadline, it's only 1 day. So if you're waiting until that deadline, you really only have 1 day. So submit your application sooner so that you have more time to think about if you want to live on campus.
Fantastic advice. Thank you, Sheila. Another question rolling in. Would students be able to get assistance when registering for classes?
So after you submit your SIR, you will be reached out by our academic advisors, and they'll have a list of recommended courses for you to take depending on your major. So they'll be able to assist you, and then your first year, you'll also have assistance and kind of planning out or mapping out the next 2 years, 2.5, or whatever amount you have, depending on how many units you have. But we also have our peer mentors as well. So they'll be able to assist you throughout the semester. So we have assistants in kind of helping you plan out and see what courses you need to take for your major.
Perfect. Thank you, Nancy. And kind of a follow-up to that question, is there someone we can meet with to get our student ed plan?
Yes, so same thing, our academic advisors will kind of help you plan out your academic pathway. Another great tip is on your UC Merced Connect portal. You have your My Degree path, and that will also help you map out what courses you need and kind of see when you'll be graduating with the amount of units you're taking per semester. So I utilized it when I was a student. It was a great tool to kind of help me see it visually and see how many courses I had left.
Very good. A question coming in about the SIR, or Statement of Intent to Register. Is there a penalty if a student commits to us or commits to another UC campus and then decides to switch that SIR?
No, there is no penalty. So you can cancel your SIR, whether if it's with UC Merced or with another UC campus or CSU, other university campus. The only thing to note about the SIR, though, is that if you do cancel your SIR, that $250 SIR fee is non-refundable. It doesn't matter if it's with another UC that you're SIRing, but that SIR fee is only applicable to the campus that you SIR to. If you cancel it, it's non-refundable. And if you forget to submit your SIR, and the deadline has passed, you will need to submit an appeal for a late SIR. So you can appeal a late SIR at UC Merced. You'll have to go through the appeal process, but there is no penalty if you decide to cancel your SIR.
Very good point to note. And one of the things I was going to mention during our close, but I'll go ahead and take the opportunity right now. Mark your calendar, June 1st. It's only a couple days away, everybody. So 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Put that reminder in your phone, on your calendars, your Google Calendar, Post-it notes. That's my personal fave so that I don't forget anything. I stick those everywhere. So make sure that you do that. And by the way, you don't have to wait until June 1st. All of these deadlines, you can actually do these things in advance. So June 1st, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. All right, we are wrapping up here pretty soon. So let's go ahead and toss in another question. Do transfer students have to take the placement exams, or is that only for first-year freshmen?
Great question. Transfer students, if you have already completed English composition and critical reading, writing, and thinking, you do not need to take the writing placement exam. For math and for chemistry, this might depend on what you've completed from the community college. If you do have questions about which placement exams are needed or how to register or access the placement exams, I'll go ahead and drop the link for our natural science advising, who administers the chemistry and math placement exams.
Very good. And another question here. How many course units does a student need to take in order to receive their maximum financial aid award?
Yeah, so to be considered a full-time student, you would need a minimum of 12 units. Anything below that is a part-time student. As for the financial aid, there's no amount of units that you need to take in order to receive the maximum financial aid. It all depends on what you submit on your FAFSA or your California Dream Act. So for financial aid assistance, that's what they're going based off on what is reported, not how many units. But if you are a part-time student, then you do have the probability of getting a little less because you are a part-time.
Very good. Thank you so much, Nancy. And to Sheila and Michelle, we are getting right up to the end of our event here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Hopefully you can see that contact us page that has all of our great contact info there. This would be a really good opportunity to grab your smartphone. We do have another handy dandy QR code that you can scan there, or you can simply take a quick screenshot of this page. So that way you have access to all of this wonderful information at your fingertips. You can read it there, but it is our email address, our phone number, our physical address. So we definitely hope to see you in the future with a campus tour. So definitely we'll go ahead and drop over actually into our chat box. We will go ahead and drop that link to schedule yourself for a campus tour as well. Some of the other things you see here are the social media network channels that we do have for the admissions office. It's a fantastic way for you guys to keep in touch and know all of our upcoming events. And we also send out reminders for you to try and help you not forget all of these really important deadlines. We realize there are so many coming up, and it's a huge process to be admitted and get to the point where you are now for that statement of intent to register, which again is on June 1st. 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. We want you to become a Bobcat, become a part of our Bobcat family here at UC Merced by going ahead and doing that statement of intent to register before then, at the very latest, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on June the 1st. The other thing that we did mention earlier as well, we have a ton of these virtual events. We've been doing these all year, really, but the last couple of months, some that are much more specific to the audience who has joined us this evening. We will drop into the chat box once again the link to go over to admitted.ucmerced.edu/events. Over there, you will find not only upcoming events, both in person when we have those scheduled, as well as virtual, just like this one, but also in case you have missed anything already that's already gone by, we have those for you, instant replay, on-demand style, on YouTube, and we have the simple link there for you just to go ahead and conveniently click that. It'll hop you over to our YouTube channel. Take a look at any and all of those events that you may have missed in the past. So some of those would vary from financial aid, tutorials, how-to type videos, different things about housing. We just had one the other night. So we do have many more coming up. So please take a moment and look over on that page. We did also mention campus tours. So we'd like to go ahead and drop that over there as well into the chat. Oh, actually, it looks like we do have a question that just slipped in. So let me go ahead and toss this back out to our panelists. How would we be able to know which units were transferable? That's a great question.
Yeah, so to be able to know which ones are transferable, you can go, if you're from a California community college, assist.org is a great website for you to know which ones are transferable. You can also reach out to one of us, the transfer advisors, and we'll be able to help you and assist you to see which ones are transferable. And if you're missing any major prep or any other courses that you may need in order to enroll here at UC Merced. But assist.org is a great website for you to utilize.
Very good. Thank you so much, Nancy, for that great contribution right here at the end. And thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in tonight and the great questions coming in. We would not be here without you. And we always have so much fun doing these events and getting to meet you this way. But of course, we can hardly wait to meet you in person. So schedule a campus tour, make your way to our campus. You can always do a self-guided tour. So if you don't want the restriction of having an actual tour guide, which is actually really helpful, they share tons of fun facts about campus. But if you just want to take your own peaceful stroll on campus, we welcome you to come anytime that's convenient for you and to definitely stop by so we can meet you in person. Don't forget, June 1st, 11:59 p.m. I can't say that enough. It is the statement of intent to register to become a Bobcat and join our Bobcat family. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope to see you very soon. Have a great night, everyone.